We are warriors here in the name of the fight for the passion is clear. Unbreakable couldn't be in the heart of the soul, and we just keep, yeah, warriors here. Every count and pin, we give it our all. Under the spotlight, answering the call. Tragedies and triumph.
All right, everybody. We are live on Oregon Wrestling Observer.
Oh, wait a minute. Live? You call this live? Look at this.
Yes.
I'm not. Well, I looked at some of those opening pictures on their opening stuff there. We were all a lot younger.
I know, right?
And you were a lot skinnier too, buddy.
It happens sometimes. I mean, like, hey, I'm trying to lose all this again. I'm trying to do that. So, but hey, again, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joshua James. Welcome back to Oregon Wrestling Observer. My close personal friend, my first ever wrestling boss, Jeff Manning, aka Morty Lipschitz. How you doing, my friend?
First ever boss in the business.
Yes.
What the hell was I thinking?
I don't know.
I could also ask, what the hell were you thinking to want to take a job with us?
Hey, it was a dream come true. And it's pretty much how I pretty much started with my show in a way, because my first ever wrestling interview was with Pat Kelly. So that was the one. So yeah, so pretty much that's how it all started. But yeah, speaking of like with the reasons why we're here with Jeff today is because I wanted to do something different, and I wanted to talk to you about a wrestling company that you and I both worked with, and this is what the episode's about. It's about this old wrestling company.
Uh-oh.
It is. The good old West Coast Wrestling Connection, WCWC.
God help me. Well, we lasted 15 years. The pandemic, I decided, was time to semi-retire. We had the TV show. There it is. We had the TV show, obviously, on KPDX for 4.5 years, and Paragon was a whole nother story. And then the pandemic hit. We were going to do the show on the Sunday, which is the day before the pandemic shut everything down. I had doctors, nurses, everything. And as much as I love gorgeous Michelle Starr, he said, Jeff, you can't do this. You just have to cancel. It's not safe.
Yeah, I completely understand, because the pandemic changed a lot. Especially like it was rough on everybody. I was sad to see WCWC go, but I completely understand.
There are and were enough other companies, some newer, some not as new. DOA is doing well after all these years. POW does pretty good. Mm-hmm. You have Defy and Prestige coming in, although I understand William Prestige wants to call it quits. Who knows? People say they're going to call it quits and they come back. They're younger. I'm old enough to know better, Josh. So we had a good run. I do consulting now. I've worked with a couple of companies, Northwest Pro up in the Seattle area. Spent about 2.5 years working out with Rocky Mountain Pro in Denver. I got a lot of other stuff in just to keep me busy in the business. I do a lot of consulting, teach kids how to talk, which is a challenge, how to cut their promos. But I've got a number of students who do that. And some of them came from they couldn't open their mouth and say 2 words without crying to I can't shut them up now. So I guess that's okay.
So like even after what WCWC closed, you're still involved with the wrestling business, which is really great to see.
No, I don't know. It's, people who work in retail stores hate it. They quit. They come back and work somewhere else. I think it's the same with guys who've been in the wrestling business. It's pushing, I think, 28 years we figured out now. And I started when I was in my 30s, and I took a break when I was moving to Oregon. Didn't know they had any wrestling up here. I mean, I was down in Northern California for a little bit. So, but I think we've counted 28 actual years doing something for real, which is nuts.
Yeah.
On the indie scene. But, I love the business. And I'll be honest, right now, I think the business, is still not in its highest peak. And my big concern, and it, people can like me or hate me, it's irrelevant. people who hate me haven't even ever talked to me or met me. I wish they would at least give me the chance to show that I'm an asshole. Okay, then you can not like me, but don't go on what people say. I ran it like a business, and a lot of the wrestlers don't like it like that because they want to do what they want to do when they want to do, no matter how good they are. We did very well for ourselves as an indie financially.
It's funny you say something like that because Bad Blood has also told me the exact same thing. Is like, if you like me, you don't like me, that's fine. It doesn't bug me in one bit. And I'm glad you keep that same attitude.
Well, it's hard though sometimes. Some people are downright nasty and say things that aren't even remotely true that I've never met, never talked to. But people who have worked for me, and we've had some people that didn't work out. It happens in any business. Yeah. We fired very few people in 15 years. Well, you can't fire somebody who's not a regular employee. We didn't book them after a while. Yeah. And go ahead. This is your show. You ask Ollie.
No. I was just like, I completely understand about that. Like, the reasons why I stopped working with WCWC is like with no bad intentions or anything. It's just like I was working at a different job. I just didn't have time to go to the shows. So I didn't like for me, it's just like I stopped working with you because just like scheduling was not on my side.
Things happen. That's part of any business, but this one particularly because you have odd, shows are on weekends. A lot of people maybe work 6 days a week and would like to have one day off. And our shows were generally on Sundays for the house shows in Salem. The TV tapings were usually on Saturdays in Portland, or Saturdays and Sundays sometimes. It just varied. So I get it. And you have some of our belts. I believe most of them.
Yeah, this one, like I like every time I see like this one, I see the heavyweight.
That's belts. A boring belt. It really is, but
okay, maybe
it's simple. I shouldn't say boring. It's just it is what it is.
The one thing I like about it is like it's different compared to like some of the belts I've seen in the indies or anything else like that. This one, like I love this one because it's plain, it's different, and it feels old school.
And that's one thing. It's not lightweight; it weighs a pound or two at least.
Oh yeah, it has some good weight to it. But like, I want to know from you, Jeff, like where did the idea of WCWC come from? Like how did it all start with WCWC wrestling?
Okay, and I love this question. I get it asked all the time. I was a radio DJ, not a club. I mean, at real radio stations when radio stations were generally live. Sirius XM, some is live, some is not. A lot of radio stations are all automated. And I was working the 9 to noon in the morning shift. The ladies' man back when I was in my 20s, My wife is in the other room, so I got to be careful. She can probably hear much of this. Hey, we have our 50th wedding anniversary in June, believe it or not.
Oh, congratulations, by the way.
I got married when I was 12. Yeah, don't I wish. But no, they were this guy by the name of Pat Kelly was brought into the studio while I was on the air. He was going to be either his first or maybe his second radio gig, and they had me train him. Well, we were talking, and he'd been doing some wrestling announcing, which was, of course, one of the best ever. I'm sorry. No Gordon Soley, but Pat was damn good in his prime. We all were in our prime. And so I trained him. We talked because I was always a wrestling fan. And so I got him trained to do this job, and he got me involved in professional wrestling. And that was how this whole thing started. I did some refereeing, obviously, for PNPW in its earlier stages, and for Sandy Barr, and for Tito out there. And then I wanted to do a show that was underneath my people are saying mean things up here. Watch it, Roundtable Podcast. Come on. You have a wife who understand me. Sorry. I love when these comments come across. So they're so funny. And he's right. Anyway.
That's Bad Blood, by the way.
I figured it probably was. Hi, BB. Nice to see you. Well, I'm not seeing you, but always nice to have you in the vicinity. Anyway, where was I? See,
you were talking about WCWC.
Well, I know that. How I got the show. So I wanted to do a show. And Mark Dykstra, may he rest in peace. He was a super guy. I really like Mark. He said, well, if you want to do one in Salem, as long as you use our people and, we'll book it for you. I said, that's fine. And I'll pay you a percent. No, just do it. It's fine. And they booked, I think it was Thunder and Richie Magnet were the bookers. Double rest in peace there. And honestly, we filled out the Elks Lodge. Anytime a new company comes on, you're going to usually draw pretty well if you advertise. And we packed the Elks Lodge with 175, but they were doing $2.25 drinks, and they were always making them doubles in those days. So people love coming to get little plastered and watch a little wrestling. The show honestly wasn't the best show. It is what it is. I wanted to do a second one, and I talked to Mark, and I said, is it okay if I bring a couple of my people in that I'd like to use? Because obviously I'm going to get my license in some way. I said, good for you. Just, keep storylines, which I did. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, what happened was, and I don't like to speak ill of the people who have passed on. Right. I don't have a problem with Thunder. Never had a problem with Richie, but Chris Thunder was really ticked off because I brought in two people without his permission. And I guess Mark forgot to tell them that I was going to book the show. And they were all booked on the show and in prime slots, but they didn't have the control and they were ticked off about it. So I was forced to get my license quicker because I wanted to run shows. We were at the Elks Lodge either 3 or 4 years at least. We had fun. The dressing room was it really wasn't. It was a closet they emptied out. You put 15 people in there and it gets real bad. But that's how WC started as WC. That very day, and 15 years later, again, it came to a crashing halt thanks to the pandemic. I might have slowed down a bit, not because I didn't have the money. We still had sponsors. People think that I always put my money to stuff. No. As an example, when we started Paragon and got the Portland Wrestling TV one, I was able to get a line of credit based on whatever they go by. And I will share this with people. I don't care because they need to know the truth. I got a line of credit for $1.5 million to run those shows. I had to pay it back, of course. But, Paragon ate up a lot more than Portland did. Portland, we had Voodoo Donuts as a key sponsor and some others, and it paid its way and then some. But I only ended up using 1.25 million of that 1.5 that I was allotted. And it finally got paid off totally in 2021 or 2022. So 3 years after we were done, I still kept paying off the balance. But I had money to do it based on my own marketing company, and it was fine. But in business, anybody who wants to be a promoter, I'm going to give you one piece of advice, and I hope to God you'll all listen. If you don't have funds to run a business, do not use your personal money. You've got to keep business and personal separate because you're going to regret it if you don't. My marketing company, I started the same way. I borrowed money as a business and had it paid back within a few months. Wrestling, you've got to keep them separate. You just have to, because I know some people who are using their personal money and they're in trouble with it. They're in debt with it. Some have gotten divorced over it. You don't want to go there. So please promote if you want, but run it like a business and don't use your personal money. If you don't have personal money and you can't borrow, then don't run a company. Work with somebody who might be willing to let you buy in a little bit and go from there.
Yeah, it's just like when I was with you guys, you were everywhere. When I was working with you, you were like over here trying to tell, okay, we got to do this, we got to do that. Like wrestling, seeing you and seeing other promoters, with when I'm with Bad Blood or anything else like that, it's promoting has to be a nightmare sometimes. It
is, but when we got into TV, I didn't want to have to do everything, but I'm a little fussy when I have people doing jobs. I mean, I want the wrestlers to be good, obviously, but outside the wrestling jobs, and there are many I paid the guy that rang the bell. I paid 2 or 3 paid ring crew to make sure somebody would show up to set the ring up. Everybody got paid. And very handsomely, I might add. We were paying more when we had Paragon. We were paying more than TNA was paying their people, but it was budgeted to do that. I wanted people that were paid well who would respect what we did, didn't have to like it, but they respected it, and they gave them 110%. And that's how we operated. But, I don't know how Bad Blood's doing with what he's involved in right now, but you can't do it all as a promoter. But when I had TV, I brought in people around me, and they knew what I wanted. And it was worth not having to do everything. I could sit in the back and watch the shows. At Paragon, I was not on broadcast. In Paragon, I sat in the back room. WC, I did broadcast commentary a lot of times. But I was able to observe the show from that position. And I made notes. Sometimes people would see me writing, and they'd get the camera on us for some reason. They're making notes. And that's what it was. I was making notes of what I saw so I could go over stuff with the people or let my agents and my people that were doing all the work know, hey, I hope you caught this. We got to change that. This guy was doing this, and can you work with him, please? It was always in a positive frame, and not like this sucked. Some days things sucked, but even when I've been agenting a little bit up in Northwest Pro for a while, and even if the match is the pits, I always try to find something nice to say. And this is my go-to line. Guys, you weren't at your best tonight, but God, your haircuts were awesome. Thank you for that. you got to throw a little humor in, and then we would sit down and talk why. But most of them knew it was a bad match. The boys and the girls in the ring are not dumb. They know when they've had a good match or a bad match. They may say, "Hey, that was okay," and they deep down inside they knew it wasn't. And you don't have to go over and critique the bad stuff. I'll say, "Hey, this wasn't great," and where do you think you went wrong? And they usually know, and they say, "Fine, let's do better next time." End discussion. I never just stayed and talked about the bad stuff. That's not a way to run a company, wrestling or otherwise.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like, especially like, I know I keep bringing them up again, but it's like when I was doing interviews, like for my show at BCW one time, Bad Blood was always straight up honest with me. Like, if he was like telling me like that interview that you had that with that wrestler, it was good, or he would say, "Well, that one kind of sucked, but let me tell you why." And like he was being honest with me, and he was telling me maybe you should do this next time. And it hurt inside, but in the same time, it's like I appreciate him telling me that because it makes me remember, like, okay, I could probably do better.
But what he did is what I've done for years, no matter whether I was in radio or wrestling. You don't just be negative. Give them an idea of what you could have done.
Yes,
this might have been better. It might not have been, but it couldn't have been worse than what we had. So I always try to give positive. And after all these years doing this, I don't know it all. And I was talking with a buddy of mine earlier, but I use this expression: I know what I don't know. And I play to the things that I do know and let others take care of things that I don't know. And even till the end of WC and everything else, and even today with consulting, I still learn.
Yeah.
Stop learning. I'm assuming Bad Blood because he's older than hell too. Well, not as old as me, but he's damn old. Got to be 90 or 95 by now, right? Well, no comment. I'm waiting for a comment in large type across the screen right now. But sorry, BB, I just had to go there. But it's true. 97. Okay. Well, I'll be honest. I will be 74 in 3 weeks.
Oh, happy early birthday.
And yeah, we'll send money. Okay. I don't need any more socks or underwear. Okay. That's ridiculous. But all kidding aside, I'm old enough to know better. But I still love doing it most of the time. When the times I don't love it, I make corrections, or as with the case with a couple of places I've helped, they decided the direction I was taking them. They wanted at first, but they wanted to be more modern. So when they got more modern, and I mean just do moves, I don't want to knock any of the big companies. So this is not meant to be a total knock, but AEW to me, shut up, really? Oh, I love you for that one. Okay. Yeah, right. I've been coloring my hair since I was 27. Okay. AEW to me is just move after move after move. There's a market for it, and that's okay. But it's not, to me, pro wrestling. We were always the old school with a new school twist, was the expression I used to use. We had to be. If we did shows to my personal taste, we'd have had nobody in the audience. But the one company went back on their own, and their numbers dropped because they were just all over the place. It was entertaining watching the moves, but people got tired of just seeing moves. There is a market for it. PWG, which I think shut down finally in Southern California, I heard. I haven't been following the LA scene.
I believe they did.
They were the same way. People want that, then somebody should do that. But it doesn't mean that we have to like it. I don't really want to badmouth any company. So AEW, I'm not trying to badmouth. It just isn't to my taste. And a lot of people want to see shows with more to it than just moves. And a lot of the guys are very talented. But I always joke, Dr. Luther's next character with AEW will be what? Are we placing any bets? Good old Doc. I miss him.
I love Doc so much. I was so happy when he signed with AEW.
And that was the weekend that we were going to run our last show. Funny thing about Doc, he was my head trainer for the year he got to work with me, or I got to work with him. He was my booker. And for some reason, he missed his part of his last payday. I don't know what had happened. I gave him some, and then he moved sooner, and I didn't give him the rest. And he said, don't worry about it, Jeff. No, I owe you the money. How am I going to get it to you? And he never cared. Somebody who knew somebody was talking to me about getting a booking, one of the places I was helping. And I said, oh, you're working with Lenny Luther. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to see you in 2 weeks, right up here. Yeah. I'm going to give you $60. Can I trust you to give it to him? He'll know what it's for. He what? he got shorted a bit on his paycheck and he won't let me pay him. You better give him the damn money. I got a call from Luther when the guy went back, Jeff, you didn't have to pay me. That isn't the point. I did have to pay you. I owed you that extra. It wasn't a lot, $60 to Doc, being a superstar wasn't much money, but it'll buy him 3 beers in Vegas, maybe. And that was just how I was. You get paid. When we had our last WC show, we had some booking issues in addition to everything else. And I knew it was, 4.5-year run on TV is pretty good. And I was just getting tired. And I had to pay people part of their money then, and part of that's going to be 2 or 3 weeks. We had a horrible draw. There were 3 other shows. I think we drew 50 for the TV tapings, a record low for us, even at house shows. And the guys had to get paid. But I told everybody in advance that day that, it looks like we may not have a big crowd. We still have our sponsor money, but I got to pay the rent first and you guys second. I'm sorry, that's how it goes. Not one person complained. They all got their 50% and everybody else got it from 1 to 3 weeks later. Except poor Anthony Green of NXT fame. I think he went by August Gray when he was at NXT. I forget when. He's been all over Japan. He's doing really good. And we were talking one day on the phone, and he said, in fact, when he got the call for NXT, he said, Jeff, did you ever pay me that last 50? I said, oh my God, no. How do you want it sent? Because, now you can do it, all these Venmo. He said, I'll take Venmo or Cash App, done. And I did it while we were talking. He said, you really did it, didn't you? I said, yeah, I don't like to owe anybody money, especially you. We Jews have to stick together, first of all. It's very important. We were thinking about having a group called Jews in Wrestling, but it never happened.
Yeah, that'd been interesting. That'd been cool.
So, running a business efficiently is tough. Ask Bad Blood. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. But we all make mistakes. I made my share of them, trust me. But I didn't make the same one more than once usually.
Yeah, especially with WCWC wrestling, there was a time where you guys was working with I think it was called the EWF Empire.
Yes. Jesse Hernandez.
Yeah, Jesse. How did that come about? Where'd that come?
I had met Jesse at a Cauliflower Alley. I've been a life member for more years than I care to admit, probably longer than I'm old. And we kind of hit it off. And I said, can I come down and see one of your shows? And of course, he puts me to work refereeing. I mean, I always used to fly with my gear at that point. I said, oh, now I got to work, huh? I hear you're a cheapskate in paying. Oh, yes, Jesse is the man.
Yeah, he is. We talk usually once a month. Still, I've got a couple of the Northwest Pro guys I think we're going to be able to bring down there and have a match with 2 of their guys. It'll be a tag thing. But we hit it off and we talked, and I went and refed for him. Usually I go to one of his shows a month and help him, ref. And then I started helping in the back a little bit because he knew I was smarter than I looked and acted. But I was still Jeff then. They never really got Mortied down there, which was. And then we did a couple shows up here because their guys would be willing to drive up, and our guys didn't want to drive, so I paid for a couple of van loads of people, and we had an us versus them show. Some of the guys were just on our roster for about the year we did this. Ryan Taylor, also, who had been on NXT as a different name, and I forget what his name was down there. Russ. I don't remember what his name was.
If you're listening, I am so sorry.
Yeah,
you're not
sorry,
listening,
Ryan.
shame on you. But one thing I did for Taylor, he'd been with me for 4 or 5 months, and he calls me 3 days before a show that he's booked on in the main event, and he says, "Hey Jeff, I got a problem. What's the problem?" Well, I have a chance to go to Japan. They want me this weekend. Okay, what's the problem? And he didn't understand that, of course, you're going to Japan, because Marty Elias, who refereed, obviously, for WWE, and he were friends. He let Taylor use his miles to fly for free. He got paid to be at the dojo. It was the Kaientai dojo, one of the best ones in Japan. He was there for 3 months. And I said, I can get a credit for your airfare, and if I couldn't, it wouldn't matter. You're going to Japan. But, Ryan, shut the F up. Get packed and go. I'm glad you called. When you're going to be back, let me know. We'll book you. And he'd been back like 4 days, and we were having a show. And I said, if you're tired, nope, I want on the show. Please, I'll work anything. You can job me out. I don't give a damn what, but it's so good to me. I do stuff like that because if somebody says, well, I've got a better booking at another indie, then I get pissed off.
Yeah.
When you commit to a show, you go, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And people, a lot of the guys and gals too, don't do that anymore. And that's frustrating as a promoter and a booker. You take an offer, you do the offer. Tyler Rust, that was his gimmick. Thank you. Tyler Rust.
Thanks, bud.
It's so nice to have somebody that knows more than we do, which is not hard. I suppose we'll both have to kick in and buy him an iced tea or something.
Most likely. Don't buy him Jordans. Don't ever do that.
Never.
But that's really cool. I never knew about that about with Ryan Taylor. That's so cool.
He came back, as you know, Japan, the legitimate dojos that are not all Americanized are very, very strong style. He came back and kind of beat the crap out of a lot of the guys. And then I think the next month they did a gimmick. I was going to have shoulder surgery pre-planned. So we decided to do a gimmick to knock me out. And that was an EWF versus WC event. A lot of fun. I
saw this.
Yeah. And it was like 3 matches to 3. And then at the end, Jesse had appointed himself as guest referee. Good old heel Jesse, which is hysterical. And I got in his face because I thought he cheated, and he low blowed me. And then he put a chair in my arm and stomped me, light as a feather. He brings over Ryan Taylor. Come on, Taylor, brother, you can do this too. Just beat up that useless Jeff Manning. That's back when I was a nice guy. Yeah. The problem with Ryan, he forgot that this was me and not some wrestler. But I think whoever had been in that chair would have been pissed at him. He just stomped the living crap out of it. And luckily I was already having surgery, but it played into our meet and greet. And I'd already brought a sling with me and all this stuff. And this was down in Eugene, I think, actually, for that show, or Springfield. Yeah, because we went to the pizza place down there afterwards. And Adam Pearce was on the show that day, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Big Joan was down there. Good old Big Joan. Remember Big Joan?
Yes, I do.
Oh, my God.
That was the same night where Ryan Taylor joined the faction.
Yeah. Oh, it was a night to remember. Anyway, you work things into programs that are legit. And when the people realized I was actually having surgery, they thought it was because of what Taylor and Jesse did to me, which is hysterical. Oh, the cat is out of the bag. Oh, my God. I pulled back the curtain. I don't usually do that.
Oh, no.
The curtain's been pulled back. I just don't encourage people to break kayfabe 100%. I just don't like it.
Yeah, I completely understand that.
It happens. It is what it is. And again, it's the market the way it is. So we just let it do its thing.
Yeah, that's true. Like that's the one thing about when I was working with you, Gentleman George Michaels. When he would show
Gentleman George Michael.
Michael, my bad. Sorry,
mad
George.
If somebody said Gentleman George Michaels.
No wonder he always got mad at me.
Probably one of many reasons.
But every time I showed up when I was working, when I was setting up the chairs or setting up, like helping out set up the ring, the guy never broke character. Even around the people, that's the one thing that I always appreciate is like this guy never broke character. Like that's the one thing.
You never know who's around, who might be a fan or wanting to get into business or whatever it was. And I give him, we kind of were on the outs at the end. I'll tell what happened. It's been years. I'm not angry at George. I was at the time. We were getting ready. We were at the Armory in Salem. Yeah. And I brought in, as I always did, 3 or 4 people from out of the area. And he never understood. I did that because when there were so many, there were like 8 or 9 companies running in the Portland area, which included us basically, because the fans, there's only X amount of fans. Yeah. And I needed to look different. And everybody should look different. If you work, say if you were wrestling and you worked 5 out of 6 companies, you're not helping yourself nor the companies because everybody looks the same. And George got ticked off and said, Jeff, why do you bring all these losers in? They're not very good anyway. And I kept I don't remember exactly how the conversation went, but I said, George, enough, please. We have a show to do. I need you at your best. I don't want to be at my worst. We'll talk about it later. And unfortunately, I terminated him for that attitude. That's the attitude I would not have in my area. In any of my businesses I've run, any of my companies or anywhere I worked when I was in charge. You can't do that. That you do. And this was in front of like 3 of them and one of our local guys. I brought the 3 in the back and said, don't worry, this is his last time. I will never accept that. And he will have to apologize. He never apologized to anybody. We haven't talked since. It's too bad because I liked him as a person. Yeah. He wasn't a bad plumber either. He actually came to our house once and did some plumbing work for me, probably twice the price, but it's, the Brits are like that. No, that's the thing that bothers me. Be professional. A lot of the guys we had at Paragon, for example, we had to have some better wrestlers. Not that the guys here weren't good, but it was TV and our first foray into TV. And we needed to get some really top-notch talent. And it cost us more, but you do that. And you have to just be the best you can be. And if you I didn't like some of the people we brought in, is where I was going with this, but we were both professional. We respected I respected them as much as they respected me. You don't have to like me, but respect what we did. That's all I asked. I refereed some hockey stuff for years, and a lot of the players didn't like me because they knew what I was going to call. They didn't like it. If you club somebody with a high stick, I'm going to call a penalty no matter where it is. If it's in my zone that I'm supposed to call, I'm going to call it. That's dangerous. This was club hockey. This wasn't the NHL. But, and I'd always warn them, hey, knock it off. If I see two guys pushing and shoving in front of me, guys, I'm watching, and they'd stop. And if two guys went at it a little bit, kind of push a double push and shove, and said, guys, I'm watching, stop. You just have to use judgment when you're dealing with people. But in front of people that you're talking about, to put them down, I thought was very unprofessional.
I completely understand that. It's just like there's some wrestlers that I like, but also like I don't get along with. But I always try to be professional and blood.
It's your job.
Yeah, and also blood. Shut up if you say something.
No, say it. I want to see this one.
No, shut up, blood.
I'll buy you lunch if you put it up there.
He's gonna say I'm disrespectful, but I'm not. Blood tries to get me in trouble with his wife all the time. He says all the time. Okay, shut up, Blood.
Wait.
Shut up about that.
What are you doing with his wife?
He tries to get me in trouble.
What are you doing with his wife? Is my question.
Nothing.
Okay.
She says I'm nice and sweet, but Blood tries to get me in trouble. See, Josh is evil. You might be in agreement with him, probably.
I'm not going to say a word.
Of course.
I'm enjoying my time here with you and whomever might be out there.
But there's like a lot of wrestlers that was so fun to work with. The one I really liked the most who you worked with was Adam Pearce. Adam was so fun. And thank you, Husky. I'm glad you got my back. My partner in crime. I'm so happy about that.
I'm not going to comment on that. Some things are better left unsaid. Adam and I had our differences at times. I worked with him when I was working with Marquez down in the Hollywood wrestling stuff, and we just didn't get along.
Yeah. I understand that.
It happened.
Yeah. Well, the reasons why I'm saying like I liked him when you were working with him is because like he was a bad guy, and that's the one thing I liked about it, like especially when he was having problems with Joan. I think that's your number one fan at WCWC.
Oh, they weren't having problems. That was all a great work.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like I that's what I'm saying. They had problems, but in reality, I know it was all part of the show. But
not what Jonah was. She hated him.
I know that. That's the one thing I know is like she believed everything. I think you told me one time that she followed you in a grocery store one time.
We'll let that one go. Real quick, I thought you were going to say somebody different as your favorite. I thought you were going to say Darren Corbin for some reason.
Oh, Darren Skittles himself. Oh, I love Darren.
Like, he's 40 years old now. I think he's maybe 41 now.
Darren Corbin was always fun to talk to, especially when you booked him. That's the one thing about Darren Corbin. It's just like, I was so happy that you always kept booking him. And it was like, he was always fun.
Well, here's the thing. Here's a reason. He was a good dude. When we couldn't afford hotels, I said, ask my wife, do you mind if this really cool guy from Minnesota stays here for this, for the night? She said, no, not at all. And they got along. I brought him in the night before the show. I had to go back the next morning to pick up another person. I get back home and here's Darren eating a huge breakfast. My wife was cooked. Where's mine? You can have goddamn cereal, dear. I like him better than you. It was like, okay, fine. She was half joking, but he got the hot breakfast. I got the cold cereal. But one thing about Darren, he put butts in seats, and that's what it's like. That's where you get your money. He easily put in 20 to 25 people came because they wanted to see Darren.
Yeah. You remember those
for Darren?
Yeah. Like, you remember when me and my friends always chanted Skittles at him? Like, me and my friends always chanted.
I honestly, I do not remember that, but it's an age thing.
Okay. We always chanted Skittles at him because his gear was always colorful.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And we would always chant Skittles at him. And there was one point at a WCWC event, fans were started to chant Skittles at him too. Everybody thought we were like, it was an insult to call him Skittles. But in reality, we even told Darren, no, we're cheering for you, man. We're actually rooting for you. And it was at the point I remember, like, when they were chanting Skittles at him, Darren actually shouted, like, you actually love me. Like, then fans started to realize, oh no, we're not cheering for you. But it's like when I remember a fan came up and was like, you told me Skittles was an insult. I was like, I never said that. Well, I
And what
just
he
said,
should have done, looking back, and maybe he didn't, I just remember he should have passed out Skittles to some people in the crowd.
oh,
That would have been amazing if he'd have done that. But I wasn't that smart back then to remind him.
We didn't think about it either, but it was just like Derek Corbin was so fun. Gorgeous Michelle Starr was always cool.
We had a lot of really good people who were also good at their craft.
Yeah.
And it's a combination. I would rather, though, have had somebody, some of our students were a little bit slower to develop, but they had a great attitude. And with my teachers and everybody else, Ricky Gibson taught for a while. Obviously, Luther did.
Yeah.
In the early days, Eric Baden taught. A Little Nasty Boy taught for a while, and Havoc. Those are my teachers I had over the years. And we all agreed, if there's a little less talent, but they're good people, they're not hurting the show, I'd rather use them than somebody who's a superstar that has an attitude.
I understand that. I completely do.
What you don't have to agree with me, but I'm glad you understand.
Yeah, I do. Like being in the wrestling, like working with you and also working with Blood and all that kind of stuff. I'm still a student, pretty much. I'm still like learning, even though I'm a wrestling fan. I should say like, oh, I know a lot of things. No, I don't. There's still some things I'm still learning, especially like now I work for with Bad Blood at Roundtable Pro Wrestling. I do commentary for them, and there's still things I'm learning. And Blood would tell me straight up if I did good or if I did bad, or like maybe you should say this next time on during commentary.
Are you a babyface or a heel or kind of a tweener, or what are you?
Well, Blood says I'm a heel, but in reality, I think I'm kind of a heel. I mean, I joined I got a shirt that I was wearing at the last show called the Dirty Crew, so I guess I'm a heel.
Okay. But my point is, in broadcast, to make a broadcast better, sometimes WWE has two normal, I'll use the word normal, for lack of a better word, normal announcers. And I think it plays better to have somebody to be a little quirky, at least, a little sarcastic.
Well, that's me. Like I've done that a couple of times on commentary. Like we would have Saddam Sims sit with us, and I would actually compliment him on some of the accomplishments he has done in wrestling while he's the bad guy. But I will compliment like, and my partner will be like, "Why are you complimenting?" It's like I'm giving him his due. I'm like, he's done this, he's done that. I think he deserves a little bit of respect.
So while Mr. Blood is still hopefully listening, if I want to come see one of your shows, what's it going to cost me?
Well, Blood's here. Like he's but another thing I want to talk to you
Don't
about.
change the topic that quick, kid. I want an answer.
Mostly
we'll think about it. We'll think.
Oh, Blood says nothing.
Okay.
You could come in for also it'd be cool to have you as a commentary partner. I would love to sit next to you.
I'm happy to do that. No payment required. I would donate my services.
Our next show is, I believe, December 7th. Okay. I believe it's the next show in Vancouver, Washington.
Would work for me because I have a show up in Seattle on the 13th.
Oh, perfect.
So if you when we're done with this and we've signed off, you will stay on for a second. I want to get the information. If that's okay with BB. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. If you have a full commentary team, I don't need to step on anybody's toes. If you want to have me as a guest for a match, maybe, or if you whatever you want to do with me, I can do all of it, part of it, none of it. It doesn't. I'm well past the stage of the ego has to be here.
Thank you, Husky. It's December 7th. It is December 7th. Okay.
Pearl Harbor Day. Great. I could Pearl Harbor the company. Nice.
I like that. All right, cool. And Blood says you are more than welcome, sir.
Awesome. We'll get details on it. You were going to ask a question. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm the star here today. You're just the interviewer, so I get to do what I want, right? No, I don't. I don't operate that way except on my own company, and even then I really didn't. If I did it my way, we'd have had no fans. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. Just remember that a body slam and a Luthez press would not play well today as a finisher.
Yeah, that's true. Because of how things are now these days.
But they still do roll-ups and backslides every so often. I still see an occasional one in an old school company.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Where did the Morty Lipschitz name come from? Like, where
another wonderful story. Okay. I was working with Hollywood Wrestling, Dave had me announcing. Usually, if they wanted a third in the booth, they would maybe the third. I was a two-man sometimes, and I was helping them with the guys in the back and doing all this stuff. And one day, they need somebody to play a paramedic. They were booking part of the 7 Levels of Hate with Pierce and Colt Cabana, and I said sure. And the guy that runs the one in San Diego, forgive me, Jeff Dino's company, we were going to be paramedics. He was petrified. I have a first aid background training. So when we got the queue, I zipped on down. Jeff kind of was afraid. And I'm sitting here with 3 roaming cameras on us. So I've got to act like I'm a paramedic. And we had jumpsuits we had borrowed from somebody. And I'm checking his pulse and looking into his eyes and all this stuff. And they must have been on it for like 8 or 10 seconds, which can be a long time, when the red lights all went off. And they looked at me, my God, you are a paramedic. Yeah, well, the truck isn't here. I had to do it. At least I can report in how he's doing. So excuse me if I have to go back to the back and do that. So that was how Morty, I was still Jeff there. But then the next taping 2 weeks later, hey, Jeff, we need somebody to play an attorney. Okay, now wait a minute here. Is this going to be every 2 weeks you change characters? If you want me to do something, I'll do it. But I don't want to keep changing, or I don't want to do it. It doesn't make any sense. I have a face that you can't forget because it's not pretty. And, well, we need a guy to play an attorney. His name's going to be Morty. Okay. And he's going to be involved with the Family Stone, who was Stu Stone. Adam Pearce was involved in the group, blah, 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 et cetera. But we need to have a last name. I got to give the guy a last name. How about Lipschitz? It just came out of my mouth for no reason. You can't say that on television. Back then, they had white page phone books, for all the residential stuff. You go in, I'm sure in the Hollywood one, you'll find at least 3 or 4 Lipschitzes. There were like 8 people with the last name of Lipschitz. So that's how Morty Lipschitz happened.
Okay.
And I can't kill him off. I'm trying. I still have most of my horrible suits and sport coats. I did donate a couple for charity up here a couple times. And I'll be sure if I come down. Well, I will plan to come down on the 7th. Unless my wife says I can't. She'll be happy to get me out of the house for a while. I will wear one of Morty's finest outfits for you guys.
It'd be great to see you wear the outfits again, because every time I came to a WCW show, you would always have a different outfit. There's always.
I still have way too many. It's funny. I got those. Kohl's department store, one of the few department stores that actually still has in-store stuff, used to have these weird sport coats and suits that they were trying to get $150 for. When they ended up on the we can't sell them rack for $20. Yeah, of course you remember that. I buy them, and I'm down to about 40 left. I'm going to hang on to them. Yep, the Jewish attorney gimmick name. That was it. Perfect. Bad Blood's pretty smart for an old guy.
Oh, yeah, he really is.
Sometimes. No, he's a cool dude. We didn't always hit it off together, but I did buy him lunch once, and we talked. And then whenever I see him, we always are very friendly with each other, and that's cool. That's the way it should be. And I don't dislike him. He kind of ticked me off at his last show. He worked for us, and I think he knows why. We had that discussion, but that was years ago, and who cares? It was in the moment. He didn't do the best thing he could have done for his character either. I'll let him think on that for a while. And we can always talk about it over the lunch. I am going to buy him as a courtesy for letting me come to the show. And
sometimes food helps. Food helps.
Looks like it does for you, buddy.
Hey, shut up.
He'll I can say that.
I know.
So that's how Morty was developed, and he just kind of stayed.
Since then, you've just been Morty Lipschitz at every time
people for whatever reason. And I always tell people, I am not the star of any show. Referees are not the stars. Managers are not the stars. They're enhancement talent that has to have the knack to do what's best. And in putting everybody over in the matches when I was managing or doing whatever I was doing, I got myself put over as well. But that was not the entire goal. If I wasn't the goal at all, I just did my job as the guys who were booking the shows. I did not book either TV show. I did not want to. And, it's just how it was. But Morty's over for better or worse.
And Blood responded.
Very nice, BB. Thank you.
And I respect Jeff, too, sometimes.
I'm not sure what bullshit he was talking about, but we'll talk about that when we have lunch. If you can't laugh at things in the past, why bother?
Yeah, very true. Very true. So I know you told me about how WCWC ended, but what made you decide to officially close the doors for?
Okay, good point. In Oregon, I think it was almost a year before companies could run again. It may have been a little less, but I'd started going out to do other things in the business, and I kind of enjoyed not having the pressures of running, at that point, just the one company and just house shows only. I'll be very honest. It is a lot of work for anybody, any age. I've seen guys in their 30s promoting, and they look at the end of even a house show, a 90-minute house show with no intermission. They look like they've been through hell. It puts pressure on you, and it's tiring. I loved it. I still enjoy it in most situations where I am. If I'm in a situation that I don't think is to the company's benefit, I let them know, hey, this isn't working out. I appreciate that you invited me to work for you and trying to help you out. We have different ideas, and I think you may be better off either going with somebody else or just not going with anybody at all. And we always shake hands, and we hug and do the usual stuff, and it's genuine. But I was tired. 15 years, of which 8 of them we had TV shows. Nobody in the market, and I know that BCW is doing something on the Coin Plus or something on Arcade2. I don't know which one it is, but that still is not a TV show with requirements, timing, and maybe it is, but it's still a streaming thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's great stuff to get exposure, but doing what is still legitimate, considered real television, is a hell of a lot of work. And when I was doing 2 at the same time for 3 of those years, it was like, oh my God. And we had a couple weekends. We did Vegas Friday, Portland Saturday, and Salem on Sunday, like the old days. I have some of the old timers doing all 3, and some of the younger guys. I'm so tired. Come on, get it together.
Yeah. So
that's why I stopped. I didn't really want to. I could have started up again, and we would have done fine, but I was tired.
Was it like burnout or like?
Yeah, kind of burnout. And I guess if I hadn't started doing other stuff in the meantime, because a lot of places opened up sooner. Washington opened up sooner. Colorado was open almost right away. I got doing those things, and it was fun. I didn't have any financial responsibilities.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. It was really kind of nice. And when we could start, people wanted me to start, and I appreciated that. And I told them, I'll give it some thought. But then it was like, no, I've got a different career in the business now. I'm not going back. And if some people got pissed off because of that, I'm sorry. We loved our fans, even the ones that we didn't love, we loved, as the old saying goes. But sometimes you got to make a decision that's in your best interest from a personal family standpoint and a business standpoint. And I had to make the call. Would I do it the same way again? If I had not been doing other things, I might have restarted, to be honest, because I had given it serious thought. But I talked to some people in the business, some of the guys that work for me, like the Gangrels, Sin Bodis, a lot of those guys, even D-Lo, and we all agreed we had a really damn good run. Let's let it end as a good run and not risk it not being a good run the second time. Oftentimes, when there's been a long break, second runs don't do as well for whatever reason. Yeah, and that wasn't ego saying that. It was, again, the business part of me.
No, yeah.
Is it really worth it? And I'm happy doing what I'm doing.
Hey, so with WCWC closing now, like what do you do now, like with wrestling wise? Like where do you work with right now?
Okay, as I said, right now I'm still part-time up with Northwest Pro out of Seattle. I do Zoom classes, Zoom promo classes, teaching people how to talk. I'm with either 8 or 9 students. A couple of them decided they were good enough. One already said, hey, can I come back? I said, we'll think about it. I also teach voiceover for people who want to do commercials. I've done voiceover work for all my years in radio. I'm looking at a couple of companies that want me to help them. One wants to be a startup company. I can't say where because of proprietary interest, but we'll know next month or 2. And it will be somewhere between California, Oregon, and Washington and Idaho. It's one of those 4 states. That's all I'm going to say. Nice. And it won't be a monthly to start because that's not what in this kind of a town you want to do. You start slow and build. And the guy has his budget figured out. He's got pretty much what he's trying to lock into a venue. We think we have one. It'll be a lodge type place. I don't know which one. I don't know. It's an Eagles or, where we were. I don't know. But it'll be that kind of place, most likely. We shopped. I visited that city. And the big event type venues are all $2,000 minimum. You're not going to get me to have somebody in a new town, a smaller town, pay $2,000 for a venue. That is a loser idea to start. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, do that. I'm adding a couple other places are looking to help, ask me if I can consult for a little bit. I said as short as long as you want. Contracts are by the month, open-ended. If you want to do a yearly thing, I can. But keep in mind, if you get mad at me, you're stuck with the contract. And, I would probably say, fine, don't worry about it. But just give it some thought. Start monthly and see how it goes. I'm not here to screw the money. I get paid decently when I do stuff. I should be. Anybody should be get paid decently for what they're doing. Yeah. But I don't want to screw somebody over and have to because they changed their mind or wasn't going well.
Understandable. Yeah.
I'm staying as busy as I want to stay in the business. To run my marketing company, with the shirts and all the stuff we used to do. All the WC stuff was through my company. Obviously, I save money getting everything wholesale. How about that? If there's do you know if anybody other than BB is out there watching, or do you have a way of telling?
No,
at some point after the fact as well, you re-air this or whatever.
Yeah, this will be uploaded. Like, we're live right now, and this will be both on my YouTube channel, Facebook, and we're live on Twitch also.
Well, here's what I want to do for the first 5 people at some point, and you can push us or not. We've got a bunch of old WC stuff, shirts, some other odds and ends, banners. The first 5 people that phone in, give me a shirt size, an address, and they'll get a freebie from the WC archives.
All right. Well, you heard it here, everybody. If you wanted a WCWC shirt,
they have to get a hold of you through your platform here. But I do need to have an email, a mailing address, and if I'm going to do a shirt, what their shirt size is.
Okay. Yeah.
And I will send one or more items for the first 5, just because trying to get stuff out of my garage.
You can always bring them to some of the maybe talk to Blood if you ever come to one of the shows. You could bring them to one of the shows probably too if you want to.
That to me is tacky. I know that.
I understand.
I'll have to find. I don't know if I have any of his size since he's been eating a lot again lately. I think, but I was going to bring each of you guys a shirt anyway. You have all my old belts practically, so you don't need a damn shirt. Or did I give you a shirt before?
You did.
I did. Okay. Well, we don't have any really larger sizes left in stock. We have a lot of mediums, larges, and extra larges and stuff. But like I said,
I still have my staff shirt.
Yes.
I still have the staff shirt that you gave me for when I was working with you. I love that shirt. I never got rid of it.
I have one still I found with Smiling Dave's name on it.
Smiling Dave.
We talk every so often, and I've got it. He still lives here in Salem, involved in the district, but
I was always wondering whatever happened to him. I always remember I used to see him at a lot of shows refereeing. I was always wondering whatever happened to him.
His wife wanted him home more.
I understand.
Didn't want him out at evenings and all this stuff. And because he's a very kind human being and afraid of his wife, like most of us husbands should be to a point, he just kind of stepped aside. He did a couple fill-ins for the TV, I think a couple times, but he didn't want to get that involved. It was more of a fun thing for him. But he didn't want to.
Yeah.
He took it seriously, even though he smiled all the time. But he didn't want to have to, go overboard. But
yeah,
one of my favorite guys to work with was Smiling Dave.
Oh yeah, I love that guy. He was great. Okay, so when is the next Northwest Pro show?
I will be up there on the 13th of December.
All right. What time and tickets and
it's at RACC, RACC. It's a gym in Port Orchard. If you're going up from this direction, you turn left at Highway 60 and go over the bridge. It's only a toll on the return. And you get into Port Orchard and follow the signs to the RACC gym. It's a 7:00 kickoff on Saturday, the 13th of December.
Awesome. Well, Jeff, I want to say thank you for taking the time to be on the show.
I mean, that's all the time I get is an hour. Holy cow, times have changed. I bet you give Bad Blood a whole day if he wants it.
The guy never stops talking, though. Blood never stops talking.
Do I stop talking?
Not all the time.
No.
But Blood, he's a talker. I can tell you that.
I know.
Well, I'm glad you like Jeff Husky.
Okay.
He's a great guy.
Who's that?
That's Shane Husky. He used to be he was a
thank you, Shane.
He was a timekeeper for BCW at one point, and now he's a timekeeper for Roundtable Pro Wrestling.
I might know him from having him seen, or maybe we did a show on something. I have no idea. A lot of people I run into. It's funny, real quick.
I love you too.
There we go. It's even to this date, yes, my wife likes to go to Walmart, and we were shopping one day. It's been about a year ago, so we'd been 1920 to 24. So 4 years after we stopped running, and I go in, all of a sudden I hear somebody, "Yo, Morty." My wife takes a sharp right turn down a men's aisle. She didn't care where the hell she went to get away from this. And it was one of our regular fans who recognized me from the back. That was scary. But so I turned around. "Yeah, what's your problem?" I give him a little bit of Morty, but I'm always polite. I don't push it. I maintain a heel character as best I can in public. When I'm in a public place, I don't want to be nasty. My character isn't really, F you kind of guy anyway. But I just kind of push it a little bit. And some of I forget how old the kid was, probably 15 or 16, and was with his mom, and she looked at me and like, "I can't believe he remembered you." I said, "What's to forget? And you're still not a natural blonde, are you?" I told her, and she said, "You're damn right, I'm not a natural blonde. I'm grayer than you probably." And we had a little talk. So it was, but that's my style of character. It can play as professional when I have to. I know when we had to do a 10 bell when Percy Pringle died, and
I was sad about that.
It was very tough, but I did what I had to do.
I actually have a good story about Percy. Is like when I made that video when he was coming down to WC for the first time, he told me he saw my video, and he said he really liked it, even though there was no videos. It was just me showing like a highlight picture of him. And he said he really liked it, and he just says, "Keep it up, and you keep doing this. You'll have a great future in the business."
Good. He was one of the nicest guys. We became friends. We had exchanged phone numbers. His dad was having medical issues and getting close to the end of life. My mom was having issues, and we talked about all that stuff. I've got some great Percy stories, but that would be a full hour or at least a half hour. So maybe some other time when you have nobody else important to put on the air. I'd love to tell my Percy Pringle stories. They're hysterical.
I would love to do that. That would be
I got
great.
a couple of Grappler stories too that are actually funny.
Oh, I would love to hear those stories because I love Grappler.
When Grappler got an award at Cauliflower Alley, Roddy Piper was still alive, and they were friends for years and business partners. And Graps asked me to present him at Cauliflower Alley, not Roddy.
Wow.
And I had stories. I had my 2 minutes as a presenter, and I buried him in a humorous way. All I'll say to start is I had Jake Roberts we'd use Jake at that time. Finally,
I remember that.
I said, "Jake, stand up. I got to talk about, you and Grappler over here." And I won't share that part of the story yet. But if you want some good road stories that are almost family friendly, I'd love to come back and do them. They're not really about me. A little bit, but not really. It's about the guys that I was on the road with, Grappler, even Pierce. A lot of they're funny, just freaking hysterical.
Well, it looks like we got more people saying they would like to hear more stories. So maybe down the road, Jeff, we could do another episode and talk about more stuff like this. I'm down for.
I'd love to. I don't want to be a regular. I mean, I would, but it's not the Jeff show. But I think fans who understand wrestling will get a kick out of most of it, all the stories. And the last word I'll say on the stories is they are so funny. It's hard to believe that they're not made up. None of these stories are enhanced or made up. This is exactly how these things happened. I don't have to enhance these stories at all because they're pretty much well enhanced because of how things played out.
Yeah.
It's funny, but I got 4 or 5 guys that people will know who they are. The stories will be hysterical.
I look forward to doing another episode with you, Jeff. I
Anytime.
Look forward to talk to more stories. And again, I appreciate you taking the time for being on this show. It means a lot.
Somebody who likes the business and cares about the business, and I want to give away to 5 people. Don't forget, so make that happen.
Yeah, definitely. Let us know, everybody.
And again, you're eligible too, buddy.
Yes, blood is always great to have on the show. I always like to pick on him, especially like what Shane is saying is like, it's okay, you like to bully blood, so do I. And again, this was really fun. And just talking to you again, it's always fun to talk to you, Jeff.
I appreciate it. And to the WC fans who are still left wondering, are we ever going to come back? I get emails, honestly, 1 or 2 a month. When's WC coming back? It's not. I'm sorry. It did its run. It was pretty successful. Why mess with it? We have nothing to prove. The people who worked for me have nothing to prove. Many of them got their first TV breaks with us and have gone on to NXT and AEW, not just Dark, but in some of the headline shows. So, it was about them. Well, some kids don't have respect. Blood's out there, and he's right. They all want to be champions. I don't do battle royals. Well, yeah, you do. It is what it is. The business is changing. Some ways it's better, some ways it's not, but that's what life's all about.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk to WC with you because, again, it was the first ever wrestling company I ever got to work with, and it was the first ever show that that pretty much helped me start my show.
And even if we didn't agree or Blood didn't always agree, we ran it to the best of our abilities as a business, but a fun business. And exactly. I know that Blood didn't like me at times, and I don't like me at times when I had to do things I had to do, but it was things the decisions I made were business based, not personal likes or dislikes.
Yeah.
I've had my own businesses for years since I was even in radio in my 30s, which means I've been self-employed, part-time or full-time for 40 years. So I don't like to lose money on a business.
Yeah, I understand that completely. And another reason is, again, like I wanted to do this WC episode with you is because, like, again, this company means a lot to me because, again, like I saved a lot of the programs. I saved all these times of the shows I went to, and especially the times when I was working with you, because, again, the company meant so much to me. Like, again, like I love WC. I'm always going to be a WC guy. And
Josh, I appreciate it then. I appreciate it more now. This is from my heart, pal, right? I really mean it. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I know you got to get going because we're 2 minutes over your hour allotment. Are we in trouble for that? Do you get fined by anybody for being 2 minutes over?
Nah, this is my show, so no. If
this were a WC TV show or Paragon, we'd been in big trouble with the folks. But again, the beauty of being able to edit to get back down to that. We had to submit shows were 58 minutes and 30 seconds long, including commercials.
And what Blood says, yes, you did.
Oh,
WC
for
was
you,
always
Blood.
Business first, and I modeled Roundtable after that.
When I'm done with Josh, Blood, I'm going to find you somewhere. I don't know I think I have your number. If not, text it to me again. I want to give you a call.
I could bring him on here after the shows when the cameras.
Can you? Okay, Blood, hang on. Yeah. We'll have you on here after we're done.
All right. Well,
I
again,
don't fight with anybody on your show. It's just not proper.
Yeah, I understand. Like the most funniest person I've ever had on my show, it was Flood Dabashi.
Yes, he's running a show in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Coma. Yeah. 3 weeks. Yeah. No, it's 2 weeks. Or is it in December? No, it's this month.
Yeah, it's sometime this month. And another funny person who I've had on my guest that was really funny was Blood, but he was never on camera. He was behind the camera. Blood would always try to make me break every time I interviewed a wrestler. So Blood was always
tried to make me break live on broadcast. And I would, if I wanted to do it, I would do it intentionally because I was saying something and I would break up and crack myself up, but that was me thinking I was funnier than I was. That was part of the gimmick. I knew I intentionally did not always do things that were really funny, but I thought they were. Yeah, right. Husky, tell him off. Punch him out. Let's go. Blood, you stay around for a minute. Josh, thank you again. I look forward to the next one. It'll be Jeff's Morty's Story Times.
I look forward to it.
Jerry Briscoe's involved in one of these stories, not the younger one. The one, Wes Briscoe's dad, the original WWE Jerry Briscoe. I got a great story about him.
Well, I look forward to having you back on the show. And again, thank you, Maniacs, for watching. I do appreciate y'all for joining us. Thank you, Jeff, again. Love you. Always will. Thank you for being here.
Stop it.
Thank you for being my best friend and my first wrestling boss. I really do.
All right. You got it, man.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Oregon Wrestling Observer. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok if you ever want to. But see you guys at Roundtable Pro Wrestling December 7th, Vancouver, Washington. All right. Love you all. Take care.
Broken bones from parts unknown. Simplify wonders of why. Broken promises.